Browns coming off a huge and very impressive win against the Titans, where they looked great. The quarterback Baker Mayfield looked great. But in important places, there is still doubt about just how good this team is. Here's a note. Despite their impressive record, they actually have a negative point differential this season. The 19th overall in that category. The only team with a winning record with a worse differential is the Raiders, who are at -24. And maybe that's part of the reason for this. Our friends at Caesars William Hill and our own analytics, FPI, view Cleveland as the underdog. Monday night, they're given only a 34% chance to win by FPI, and Caesars has them as a 2-point underdog. This despite the fact that they have a 2-day advantage in rest and are 2 games clear of their opponent, Baltimore, in the standings. So it really sort of leads one to think Vegas isn't buying into the Cleveland Browns. Bart Scott, are you?
I believe that they're a good football team, but I do believe that when they're out in the world, they're Roscoe Jenkins. But when they come back to home, which is, the AFC North, they're just R.J. Stevens, and they get treated as such. They get the atomic wedges. They're coming back with Big Brother.
I get that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm speaking over their head. So when you look at it, they get beat up by Big Brother all day, because you look at when they played the Ravens, when they played the Steelers, they got shellacked. Right? You look at when they played the Ravens, it was a week 1, but it was 38-6. Then we thought that the Browns had arrived and they were ready to go. Then they got beat up by the Pittsburgh Steelers. So what happens is if the Browns are going to get some respect, they're going to have to beat their big brother at something eventually. And they're going to have 2 opportunities, because they also have another game with the Steelers. Can Baker Mayfield put a performance up like he put up the other day? I think not, because if there's one weakness for this Baltimore Ravens, it's the fact that they gave up 4.4 yards against the Cowboys last week. And also, when you think about the first game, both Kareem and Nick Chubb had over 4 yards to carry against them. So it's impressive. They have to make sure that they let Baker Mayfield hand the ball off and not falls for this fool's gold that we saw last week with him throwing the ball for over 300 yards.
So, RC, I feel like I want to ask you the same question. Vegas is not buying the Browns. They're going to need to prove it to people this weekend. Are you buying them?
I mean, the one thing I learned from Sam Rothstein is that, the casino going to win. Vegas going to win. So it kind of makes me scared. But when you look at what the Cleveland Browns have become, they're a different team. And obviously, if you go back to this team early on in the season, when they had Odell Beckham Jr., and when Kevin Stefanski was kind of enamored with that talent, and so was Baker Mayfield, this team didn't necessarily have the identity that it had now. This team didn't have to go through games without Nick Chubb to realize how valuable he was. And last week, they had an opportunity to go against the Tennessee Titans, and it was big on big, like the Migos said. How you go big on big, and they won. Nick Chubb was the better runner. The Cleveland Browns were more physical up front. Baker Mayfield was better protected, and Kevin Stefanski dialed up the better plays on the outside to get him clean throws. That's what they have to do this week. And the one thing that I know about the Cleveland Browns right now is they understand they have to beat Big Brother. They know that when they go home, that Cedric the Entertainer is waiting there for Roscoe Jenkins and his new bougie girlfriend, and you can't be driving around with Louis luggage when you got to kick her out. And so when I look at this game, the Cleveland Browns understand what's ahead of them. I think Baker Mayfield still has a ton to prove. He's playing with that underdog mentality, but Nick Chubb, not Lamar Jackson, not Mark Ingram, not J.K. Dobbins, will be the best runner on the field, and I know the Cleveland Browns will start with him.
All right, so Ninkovich, I'm coming to you. Who wins this game? Are the Browns ready to punch Big Brother in the face, or does Baltimore sort of maybe establish themselves as the team we thought they were and leave Cleveland behind?
I think the Ravens are going to be able to get it done just based on the fact that they've been able to do that, and they know how to beat the Browns. How do you beat the Browns? You make Baker Mayfield throw from the pocket. You make him make plays out of the pocket. And look at, first the Tennessee Titans, at the end of the game, he fumbled a quarterback sneak and basically could have potentially lost that game for the Browns. And, afterwards, it's like when you trip your brother or sister and everyone saw you do it, and then you turn around and you're like, I didn't trip him. What are you talking about? He's looking around like, I didn't fumble. You clearly fumbled. You fumbled that ball. They pick it up. They almost score out of that deal. They do score there, and you made it a game out of that. So it's not so much a question on the Browns. It's a question on Baker Mayfield. People still have questions about him because if you take away the running game, which the Ravens going into this game are going to say, we got to stop the run. If we don't stop the run, we're going to lose. Clearly. So you stop the run, put it in Baker's hands. Can he win? I don't think so. I don't think Baker can do it on his own.
We're going to find out super quick, Bart. Again, as my former Raven, I just have a moment for this. How about their side of it? What's at stake for the Ravens in this game?
Well, I think, when you look at this game, I don't think this is the end-all, be-all. But I think what they want to do is be able to win in front of Cleveland. When you look at it, the Ravens still have, the weaker schedule after they play the Browns. I think I have both of these teams, if the Cleveland Browns lose, at 11-5, which means one of these teams are going to be in danger of not making the playoffs at 7-5. With the extra slot, you think that they'll be the lower seed. But, Cleveland still has to play Pittsburgh. Baltimore has homecoming games after Cleveland after this.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.